Hey everyone, welcome back. I have a friend and special guest on, Josh Martin, who goes by REI Stoners. And I interviewed him a few months back, and today we're gonna catch up on where he's at and just to kind of give an update, on his journey on if he's got a property under contract, where he's at. Because originally he was really focused on saving money and getting that first purchase. But welcome back, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you hosting me.
No, I love it. I mean, people loved your our first interview, and I think you're very motivating for a lot of people. A lot of people have so far been on my channel. They have properties on in their portfolio, and for you, you were really focused on the saving part of it and getting started. So, why don't you kind of give an update or where you're at right now?
Well, right now we landed a property. We all that saving paid off. So, it's like Dion kept saying, it takes a couple years of just saving or whatever you have to do. We didn't have any debt. I mean, we did at first. It was a few thousand that we knocked off, and then we just started saving, saving, saving. But once we got this place, we were just amazed. We couldn't even believe it. We were like, "What? We actually got something?" And this was back in June, so the rates were going up. And the pretty much one of the ways we were able to figure out if we can make anything off this was buying the rate down. So that was something we kind of negotiated with the seller to help get the rate down, which helped get us in this place. So that was pretty cool. And the other thing about it was it wasn't a turnkey, and that's what originally we were looking for. Is we didn't want to do any work, even though my brother, my family, my dad is in construction. Is just not something we wanted to do. So we were looking for that turnkey property, and we were really hoping that we would find something, but there was just nothing in our market that was panning out. We're looking for a lot of 2-1s. We're up in Washington, and once you look enough, you start knowing what the price is on the house you're looking for. And we were originally looking for 2-1s because they were around 500,000 for a 2-1, up to 550. So that's kind of what we were hunting around for. Anything in the 3-bedroom was up over 600, so that kind of wasn't in our price range. Um, and yeah, when we saw this house, well, like I said, I do my work every day, and I came in after work. I started looking. Actually, no, this one I was at work and I was looking through because my agent sends me stuff like on an automatic thing. And so my email just bling. So I looked at it and I'm, oh, property, and took a break, looked at the property, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I immediately contacted my agent and wanted to get the ball rolling because I know how Dion talks about like, an hour or 2 hours, trying to get on it as quick as possible. So that's what I did. And yeah, I think that was a big part and paid off and getting it. But like I was saying before, the other part is this place was not turnkey, which we were hoping for. And it was five. We ended up paying 505,000 for it, but it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. So we figured we could get a lot more rents for it. Once we fix it up, it'll be worth more. So that was something that I was not thinking we were going to do. But when I walked the property and saw that the bones were good in here, and maybe we had to put 20,000 into each unit, or maybe more into that one than this one, then that's when we really started sitting down and talking. Are we going to do this? Is this something this will get us in the door? And now it's renovating it and hopefully renting it out for the prices we think. And if so, then yeah, we're hoping that we're going to make over 10% on this deal. But that's just hoping right now until we land somebody, that'll kind of tell us what our real numbers are.
Awesome. Why don't you refresh my memory a little bit? Because I think you were saving quite a bit for a while, right? So
Yeah.
as far as getting enough for a down payment and reserves, like maybe start to finish, like how long did that take you?
That took well, it took almost 2 years. As soon as we were kind of watching all the bigger pockets and everything, Mindy Jensen about saving, we immediately paid off the credit that we had because we were making kind of minimal payments on it. We didn't really understand what we were doing. And once we realized that we weren't really paying down as fast as we could, and the bank was making money on those cards we had. We just paid them all off immediately, and well, within a couple months, and we pretty much just started saving. We stopped eating out. We didn't do anything. We pretty much just worked, and we played video games at home together, and we talked about, finances, or she talks about cheese because she's a monger. And that's pretty much what we did to save. We were putting away about 3,000 a month, and if not more some months. If we had extra money, we were putting it away. So we disc golf, and that doesn't really cost any money except to drive there. So like I said, we could save quite a bit, and we ended up saving about $55,000 in that time. And that was everything from, if we got $100 birthday something from my dad or my mom, we threw that in with the money. We opened up the whole Apple card and Apple savings so that we could get that money monthly. So just anything to get extra money. But that's what we did. And then once we saw this place, we were planning on using that FHA, the 3.5 down. So as I was running my numbers, I'm like, okay, well, we don't have to put that much down. And then we started talking about, once they did the inspection and we were able to get more money from the seller, all those little things started to build up and help us make the decision that we were going to actually get this place. But in all that, it was the deposit money, the with the seller that they put in. We only ended up putting 18,250 into this place to put as a down payment, closing costs, everything across the board. So of that 55,000, we still had a lot of money left over to do that renovation, like I was talking about. So if we didn't have all that extra money, we wouldn't have done this. With that extra money, we figured, okay, well, if we could just fix that unit up, maybe about 20 grand or so. We wanted to have maybe twice as much as that, or at least more than that. And right now we're probably on budget for what we thought. We are doing a lot of the work ourselves, so that's to help. But the savings at the beginning was super crucial for us to have all this padding, and be able to do this renovation that I didn't think. I was more using that extra money, and my thought process was just to put more money down or buy the rate down or something of that nature, to get our foot in the door, especially as rates are going up. But the saving was super crucial. It's just a sacrifice for that little while, and just keep putting it away. So that's pretty much what we did.
Yeah, I love it. So you actually kind of was ready maybe months ago, right, to actually purchase something before you actually found the property. So it actually just took you a while to find that property that fit your buy box, as they would say, right?
Yep.
So how
Yep.
many properties do you think you actually had to look at or evaluate or take your agent to go and see?
Well, that's a funny thing. I mean, I don't even know. I couldn't even count. It's been all these years I've been doing it, or, year and a half, 2 years of looking at properties. And, eventually you start getting an eye for what you're looking at, and what your two-bedroom one was, what I was looking for, and the range I was looking for. It's just looking at that every single day. And at some point, you really don't need to look at every property. I just look, okay, it's a 2-1, it's this price, these are the most rents I can get. So it doesn't really make sense unless I can get the rate down to this. And then I would, call my agent and be like, hey, do you think we can do this, and maybe buy it down? And I was always really like trying to get the seller right off the bat to do something. Like, I know Zuber and everybody talks about wait 30, 60, 90 days and then make an obscene offer. But like, I just figured, why beat around the bush? Why just do it right off the bat, And my agent was a little like, yeah, that's not really the way it works, But again, I don't know. So I was just going for it. And even this place, when I first got this place and I had seen it, they wanted 495, I think, or 498. And we kind of, we did this thing with them so that the seller put in money and we put in money so that we could buy the rate down, but it made us so that we're paying more for the property. So like I told Mary, so basically we're putting the money up in order for us to buy the rate down. And the agents all, yeah, that's kind of how it works, but the seller is pitching in money. So since they're pitching in money, you're not having to put it all in. And they're having to explain everything to me as we go. But that's the beauty of all this is I was really scared at the beginning. And once I had an agent and a lender and all these people would explain every detail, and I'm detail oriented, so like I'm asking tons and tons of questions, probably super annoying, but I want to know what I'm putting all this money into. I want to understand it all, so if that makes sense, that's just kind of what I did, with this property as well. And they didn't want to do it, but he was willing to put money back, and that's how it worked out. And I was kind of happy we were able to get our foot in the door.
Yeah, I know you follow like Michael Zuber also on One Rental at a Time, and he always talks about, there's like the sales side of real estate, there's, the lending side of real estate, and Lumberjack Landlord actually talks about the landlord side or property management side. So are you finding that out where there's so many different aspects of real estate that people aren't aware of, right? They just think buying a home is, you save enough money and then you go buy a home. But there's actually so many different aspects of buying real estate.
Oh yeah, and it's very overwhelming for me, right? And like, well, there's been a couple times where I'm just like, if I had any hair, I would pull it out right now, But even my wife, she's just like, we're in this. We just got to take deep breaths. And there was an interview I was watching on Bigger Pockets a long time ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but he just kept talking about baby steps, And so that's what every time I get a little bit overwhelmed, I just tell myself, baby steps. Let's just do the next thing. Stop worrying about all the rest of the stuff because it's not going to help, So I just like keep going on. Like I have a ton of stuff. I thought this place was going to be renovated in 2 weeks and I was going to get all my painting and everything done, and nope, it's the first of this month now. We're paying our own mortgage again. And we have a whole bunch of stuff that still hasn't been finished. The contractor pushed back on a plumber, having problems 1 week. So we got a new plumber and just little things like that. It's taking forever. And I didn't realize it was going to take so long to paint. And when you actually work, 12 hours some days. So there's just a lot to it, It's like I work all day, I come home and I try to put in, 4 more hours or so, and then also have little time with the family.
Do you find the renovation or rehab enjoyable? Like, how Dion talks about he's probably not going to do another one again. So, like for you, if you get to that point to where, you can pay someone to do it, are you going to do it yourself or you think you're going to outsource it somewhere down the road?
That's a good question. I've been thinking about that a little bit actually, and I'm leaning toward what the lumberjack landlord talks about, and like getting these more depressed properties where I can get a better deal, I can fix them up, and I can go a little quicker. Because I am older than Dion, and I want to try to get there quicker so that I can retire. So for me, I'm trying to, move a little quicker and whatever deals I can make. So I'm thinking this renovation is just giving me a lot of lessons, and I'll be able to go into the next one and spot things differently. I'm taking the lumberjacks course, so that's going to help me with having a plumber, an electrician, contractor next time that I trust, that I can go there and just take a peek at it instead of the inspector, because again, the inspector doesn't always catch anything or everything, and I don't know. I've with this last inspector, there was a few problems that they missed that has kind of got me like, damn, I should have had some other people on hand.
Let's stop there. Let's touch on that because I saw you post something, could have been Instagram or YouTube, but you working on some leaks or something in the roof, and you kind of
Yeah.
mentioned that about the inspector.
Yeah. So the inspector said the roof was fine. Everything was good with the roof. Didn't mention any holes or anything like that. And I even went over the report again. There are two holes in the roof, little like hammer holes, but they're under a skylight. So there's a skylight sitting there, and it's an old skylight. It doesn't even go into the house anymore. The ceiling from the duplex that we live in, it's actually right here. It's just ceiling now. So the skylight doesn't work. But on the roof, when you're up there, there's a skylight on there, and there's a piece of plywood, and it has two big holes, and the skylight's protecting the holes. But what I noticed was when I went up into the attic, the truss coming down had waterlog in it, as well as when I went on the roof and looked under the skylight, the 2x6 going around it and the piece of plywood up there had waterlog in it. So it's not watertight. So, that was overlooked, which for me, I was like, what the hell? So, I ended up getting on probably Lumberjack or Dion, somebody in the chat one day, and, asked, is this something you guys think I can do? And Ryan Hyder, who's another, watches commenter, and he talked about saying, oh, yeah, you could definitely do it, gave me some pointers. So with him giving me confidence to do it, I went and bought a ladder so I can get on the roof, and I got up there and got Flex Seal, and I got in the attic, and I did all that stuff. So I think all this confidence is making me ready to do this again.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I've never done a rehab myself, and but knowing me, I think I'll end up being more like Dion, where I don't think I'd want to deal with it myself. So I think that's but I think it's a great experience, and maybe I would do it just to maybe try it. But I think I would ultimately end up kind of like how Dion is, his mindset for it. But you also keep mentioning, Dion, Lumberjack, Michael Zuber, and this kind of community, and maybe touch on that a little bit about how they've all helped you or motivated you, or kind of like you said, gave you the confidence to continue on this journey.
Yeah, man, it's everybody that kind of all talks together. Sierra, who's been on your show multiple times now, she's helped with plenty of things. She's posted on her page. One of the things is with the flood zone areas. That was something that I hadn't really noticed until I saw her page. And so everybody's giving out great information that they find as they're on their journey, and they're sharing it with all of us because we might not find it as quick as they're finding it, or they're ahead on their journey a little bit faster. So for me, I was still in that saving period like you were talking about, but they were already ahead. So I'm able to feed off of everybody. And you know, Millennial Mike, I love the fact that because for a while there, we didn't know if we were going to get a place. So I kept thinking, well, maybe we should just rent here, we would stay in our rental, and we should maybe just invest all this money we have in Indiana or something and start learning from him. So, there's so much shiny object syndrome out there, is what I was calling it back then. So now that we got our first place, which was the goal, now we're looking to start to figure out, well, what are we going to do next? Because if the rates stay high, are we going to do that? And this community of people is helping me with that confidence. Frank having, multiple properties everywhere. Um, the lumberjack, he's really helped my confidence in just being able to, you know, work with contractors, work with these plumbers. That's something like, I think at the beginning of this we talked about. I do have it's kind of hard for me to talk with people until I start to get warmed up and going, but that initial contact, it's like I don't even know what I'm going to talk to these contractors about because I'm not sure. So luckily, I have my brother in my family, and he helps out as well. He's somebody I've been, trying to, get on board with this. And even though he's a contractor, he's like, yeah, it's not a good idea buying properties and renting them out. So in a sense, I'm trying to like show him that it is possible. Um, but this community of people, man, it has just helped out so much. Like I mentioned, Ryan Hyder, he I'm excited to meet everybody. Maybe not in Vegas if I can't make it, but he's talking about coming up to Washington. So this is a good way to make these contacts. Cody and Christian, they live up here, so I reached out to them and had coffee with them. And you know it's just they give me confidence too. I post my stuff online, and they like it, and they're like, great job. So I know these people are really happy, and they're the ones who are coming out here trying to get us to do this. And I can see like where this like when Dion's helping all of us out and he's giving us all this information, I can see what the happiness he gets from somebody getting a place and then getting on their way to financial freedom like we are, like Dividend Dave did for him. And this is just something where I could see myself in the future helping some people around me, because now it's opened to my eyes, because I was down there, so to speak, like didn't really understand real estate, didn't understand investing, just lived paycheck to paycheck. What am I going to spend my money on this week, And now with this new mentality, I feel like we could go far, and this is just all about this community. They've helped everybody. Zuber started a lot of it out in just me understanding how to run the numbers. Because without that, I'd be nowhere. That was my biggest question: was, how do I run these numbers? How do I know if it's a good deal or not?
It's
Once
funny
I
you,
had
oh
that.
sorry. It's funny you talk about that because I think you mentioned this kind of community, Hyder, Frank, and how none of us have really met in person yet. But I think what's interesting is that there's so many different communities out there. However, this community is a community that, like you're saying, it's kind of taking it by baby steps. I mean, yes, everyone is trying to get wealthy and reach financial freedom, but it's not like a get rich quick kind of, rush in and, kind of just make rash decisions. So I think that's what's important. This community is very much like you were saying, kind of like baby steps and kind of understand the process and the journey.
Yeah, man. And then even watching you over this whole time, like when I first met you online, just chit-chatting and talking and watching your channel grow, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, and I've reached out to you just on messages on the side asking about how you did it and how you got your properties. And that's just amazed me how many properties you got that fast. And so your story resonates because my wife's brother-in-law, he's been working for UL for 20 plus years, and he has a giant 401k. And so I told him about your story. I've sent him links to your podcast all the time. And because you did what you did with your 401k, I keep trying to show him, look, you could do this too. Like, this guy bought all these properties in Pittsburgh and he's killing it. And so it's inspired him. He's actually moved out to Texas. He's got another job. He's looking for properties himself. So this community's not only helped me, but it's helping my family, So I appreciate everything that, you've been giving back too, because this is just amazing, and you've been helping out a tremendous amount.
Like it's like you said, like Dion, Lumberjack, they find enjoyment. You see the happiness on their face when someone closes on a property or gets their first property. And I kind of feel that way also when, like, you reach out to me, or Frank reached out to me, or somebody in the community reaches out, and it just kind of reminds me that I, maybe I don't have a huge channel, but there is people that's resonating with my story, and hopefully I'm helping people out there, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, meeting super cool people like you. So it's been worth it.
Oh man, your channel's great. You have so many great guests on here. I don't remember a lot of their names because obviously REI Stoners, but but there's a lot of guys that you have that are linked to podcasts that I started following that just have so much just information and just motivation, that's one of the things that day to day we all lose motivation. It doesn't matter what you're doing, or maybe it's just me, I don't know. I lose motivation every day, so it's nice to be able to wake up in the morning, start to drive to work, because I start at 4:30 in the morning, and start listening to one of these motivational podcasts of one of your guests. And that's another big thing that helps me go, okay, we're going to grind it out today, we're going to make that money, we're going to get more real estate, and we're going to keep doing this. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I think you commented on one with Stay Winning podcast from Hugo,
oh yeah.
and yeah, Hugo's amazing. He kind of touched on something you were talking about earlier about helping others, and yeah, he talked about how it's easier to help people from the top. When you get to the top, you can help more people, right? So if you have a full glass, you can fill more glasses and everyone can drink. So I
Right.
think, like I said, that is a great motivation of, yeah, you're doing it for yourself. You're, improving your life, but you're also, once you get there, I definitely see that, you're gonna help a lot of people get started and kind of show them, like you said, I was at the bottom, but I'm up here now, and this is, my journey and how I did it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, so let's kind of go back a little bit about the process of getting this property, and maybe now that you've closed on it, now you've been doing, some renovation, some rehab. Like maybe what do you think? Is there anything you would have done differently besides the inspector, I guess, or maybe, doing a better inspection report? But is there anything else you would have did differently?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone and just had a contractor. Well, had a few contractors look at it, bid the work, but I probably wouldn't have had just a contractor do it. I probably would have found like individual people to do individual projects instead of having, one person. This is kind of like my brother's telling me, kind of what happens in the game. And with a contractor, although he might be doing my plumbing work here, he's not actually putting the shower in. The plumber's putting the shower in. He's getting the plumber and then he's boosting the price up 20%. So my brother's like, that's kind of how contractors work, just so you know. He's like, if you end up just going and getting your own plumber, then you're not going to have to worry about that extra 20%. You just go through three different plumbers, figure out who has a good bid for that shower, get it done with the plumber. Same thing with, anything else that the contractor doesn't actually do. My contractor kind of actually does countertops and cabinets and all that, which he is doing. And then he did my LVP flooring, which I'm not sure. I'm guessing he does that as well. But again, it's just, I think it was just the plumber and then electrician stuff that was going to be like dealt out to somebody else. So next time I'll just get my own electrician. Well, with this time I actually did that because he had an electrician scheduled and then he couldn't make it. And it was one of those things where it kept getting pushed off. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just get somebody in there. And I ended up getting a guy come in and he did it. Um, so yeah, that's probably what I'll do differently is just, have my own people kind of come in there and look it over and see what actually needs to be done. And other than that, probably I don't know, man. I think we were one of the things like I kept telling Dion like when we were at the meetups is I was trying to be over prepared for this, and he's like, you can't really do that. Like you just gotta jump in. And I think me being over prepared did kind of help because I did know that a lot of my bases were covered of what I was doing. I had the money saved up. Even when running my numbers, I figured, hey, look, if at worst we have to put in twice as much money, we're still going to make 10%. You know what I mean? So that was kind of something that I don't know. I was just like, this is a good deal. We just got to do it.
It's funny you say that about being over prepared. I always like to tell people that it's kind of like, before you have your first child, you read all these books and you read all these learning books about how to raise a child when the baby arrives, and you get yourself super prepared, like you're saying, over prepared, and then the baby comes and now everything is out the window. It's just survival and you're trying to figure things out. And a lot of times, when people have their second child, things are a lot different. They realize like, okay, this is not that important. I'm not going to worry about this. I'm not going to do this time. But that first initial one, like you're saying, a lot of times you're just over prepared, and then as you do it, you kind of realize that, okay, this I don't really need to worry about. But that is fine. That's what I like to tell everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, again, it's like we were happy that we did all the studying because once we got this place, we were like, it was that easy. We're done. We did the 30 days and we negotiated the money with the seller and he gave us more money because of all the problems. And then he fixed his half of the things because when they did it, the appraiser came through and the appraiser saw a bunch of electrical stuff that was wrong with the siding in the house. The whole back patio was kind of falling down. Well, they made sure that, and these were things we were really worried about with our FHA loan. And basically they said, hey, no, the seller needs to fix all these things in order for this deal to go through. So that's when we kind of got worried. We was like, oh crap, are they even going to want to fix all this stuff? Um, but they did. They ended up, and it was scary because I think two and a half weeks had gone by, or 2 weeks had gone by, or something like that. And we were like, man, they're not getting back to us. I contacted my agent. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, they haven't said anything back. So I was just like, damn. And then one day the seller's agent called my agent and said, hey, look, he thinks, yeah, he's going to go ahead and take care of his half, and he's going to give you the money that, I had my own guy come in and look and see what the damage was that was going to cost me to fix up. And once we knew all that, and the seller was going to give me some money, he was going to take care of all those repairs, and he was still going to put money in for buying the rate down. We were good. We were happy. We were like, all right, let's do this. And yeah, it ended up getting done. So
So what is the next step for you? I mean, after you finish this rehab or renovation, I should say, like now it's going to be placing the tenant, correct?
yeah, right now, again, I'm like in Lumberjack's course, kind of trying to figure out a few things. Um, like as far as getting the ad, what I'm going to put in the ad. um there's a lot of little ends that I'm trying to button up over there, but I think we're just trying to stabilize. We want to get a tenant in there. We want to get the right tenant in there. Let me take that back. Get somebody who we're going to be happy with, who's going to be happy with us. And once we do that, we want to still stabilize the property. We already sat here and planned on just being here for a couple of years. Even if for some miraculous deal comes around and we've been saving money, we'll probably, I told her maybe we could stay in this unit and we can, do something else. But we want to stabilize this unit. There's a lot of little things around the outside that I am going to tell the renter that, hey, look, the property, the inside's ready to go, but we still have a lot of things around the outside as far as landscaping that we want to take care of, just to let them know that there is still a little bit of work going on around the house. And that we want to fix up some of the, maybe pressure wash the outside of the house, maybe get it painted, things of that nature. So there might be a little bit of disruption here and there, maybe some insulation getting installed, which I don't think they should complain about that. But
I love it. I'm excited for your journey, man. I can't wait for the next update once you get a tenant in place.
right. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, is just post all my videos on YouTube about what we're doing to, stabilize the unit and all the little projects we're finding. There's a lot of stuff I haven't even posted because, like I said, I'm just trying to work. And then I'm like, man, I got to post this video. I forgot all about it. So I need to start doing more shorts so they're just quick and easy.
So now that you kind of gone, well, you haven't really done the property management side yet of managing the property, but so far you've done the saving, the purchasing of the property, and now you're doing the rehab of it.
Yep.
What do you think so far has been the most challenging of those three?
The most challenging of them was just trying to find the property, because there was just so many days I was getting frustrated, and then I see people online still like, I can't find anything. There's nothing out there. That was me too. And so I was trying to make any deal work. And I mean, I was calling my agent and saying, hey, look, there's this eightplex, see if they'll sell or finance it. And he's like, dude, that ain't gonna work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was throwing all kinds of just whatever out there. And a few times he had to sit me down and just explain how things worked, because I was just like, let's do this and let's do that. And that was the most challenging part of it, is just making sure the numbers ran, getting to the point where I can run the numbers 5, 8 different ways, buying the rate down, not buying the rate down. Just all the little things like that. That was the most challenging for me. And then getting to a point where we're like, there's just nothing. And now the rates are going up and the prices are going up. And then having my wife even kind of every once in a while going, are we even going to get a place? And things like that was like, damn, it's just like more on the shoulders. I'm like, oh, something's got to happen.
But it's
But
funny you mentioned that. Like you're saying the rates are going up. I'm sure at the time of your purchase, you thought the rates were high. And
oh yeah.
now months later, we're looking at higher rates.
Yeah, right. And so that's what they say about time in the market instead of timing it. And so that's all we kept trying, is just to get our foot in the door. I heard you talking with Sierra the other day about, doing whatever deal. And that's exactly where our mind frame was. We were like, let's get a property. We'll make sure that the maintenance, capex, and vacancies all taken care of. And even if we make nothing, we'll get it because at that point, once rents go up after a couple years, we'll be cash flowing a little bit of money, maybe. You know what I mean? And so it was just trying to get our foot in the door. So, like I said, I was looking at every little avenue of how to approach this, and yeah, this was the way that it ended up working out. So,
Especially since you were going to be living at the property anyways, right?
yeah.
Like you're saying, you just not that you wanted a bad deal or anything, but the fact that you were going to live there, so at least you're offsetting some of your expenses, but just getting on that property ladder, so now you can hopefully have that snowball start taking into effect.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things, like I was listening to somebody on Bigger Pockets talking about this exact thing we're talking about, and he was like, I'm just looking for somewhere for me and my dad because his dad was getting older, and I'm like, that's probably a good way to look at it. Is that it'll be our house, and even if at all worst, it's our only house ever. We're paying it down, and a neighbor's helping us pay it down throughout this whole time. We got our own duplex, even if it's one, so we kept having that mentality as well. So it was just, let's just get our foot in the door like anybody else would and then see where it goes. But that time in the market paid off. And I mean, even right when we bought it to 30 days later, I mean, I don't know how it works, but they were selling this place for 495 or 8, I think. I think it was 495. And it was appraised at 515. So I was like, all right, I'm all or 515 or 520, something like that. So we got like instant equity, which I told Mary, well, that doesn't really mean anything for us because we got an FHA loan and we only put 3.5% down. So we need a lot of equity even to refinance later, I'm also we're just kind of, like we talked about before, is just sitting here and stabilizing the property.
But it's nice seeing the equity, right? Like the value, or even like your Zillow estimate. I mean, I know they're not completely accurate, but it's just nice to see it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, after we fixed that side up with, because the appraiser looked and saw what that side looked like. That side was awful. And that's why when we originally walked this, we were like, okay, we're going to end up living in a construction zone. But once when they finish this, we're going to live in a really nice unit until it's time to, rent it out in a couple years. But what we didn't think was going to happen was that the tenant next door that was still living here was going to give us 30 days notice and want to move out. And so we were like, oh, they're going to move out. So it almost worked out in our favor because what we decided was, okay, when they move out in 30 days, they live in the nicer unit. We'll go live in there. And then we don't have to live in construction this whole time. And so we moved in here. This unit's not bad. It needs some paint, probably a new range, refrigerator, dishwasher, some things like that. We'll put the LVP butcher block in here as well. But other than that, like that one needed baseboard, casing, plumbing, a new shower. Yeah, that one knew everything over there. So I even had to screen all the hardwood floors over there because they were just so bad. So yeah, that cost us an extra grand to do that.
I hope you have pictures of the before.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I have
Yeah.
videos. I think I even posted some videos on my YouTube, but man, the before was just it was gross. Like I keep saying, it was like a Vegas sidewalk over there. Yeah, it was bad.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm glad we got this little update, and I can't wait to do another update when maybe you get your tenant and then doing the management side, and we can get a little story on that and kind of, what your experience with that's going to be. But for any one of my guests that's on the fence, or trying to save up for that first one, like what advice can you give them?
Just stay strong. I mean, every day you might want to go out to eat or you might want to splurge on something. Just don't, just realize, hey, look, I could put this money into a property. And me and my wife just go by that whole, do we need it or do we want it? And I mean, that's an easy decision no matter what you're buying. If you're going to go into the store or even and just buy a soda because you're in there, you don't need soda. We have water. I mean, that's how frugal we are. We do buy juice here and there. We buy almond milk, because my wife's got to have her chai. But, we also want to be able to have some things that we enjoy. I enjoy my orange juice, I enjoy my pineapple juice, so things like that, But yeah, I would say just stay strong and just keep saving everything you can. Don't go out to the bar with people, I mean, we don't drink, but we do smoke, so we spend our money, I guess, in that way. But
Yes, I figured that from your name.
right, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that people spend money on that, we don't go out to the movies, we don't do anything. So just stay strong, don't spend money, keep saving it, and think that you'll be here too one day going, hey man, that was worth saving all that money. I mean, it's definitely worth it.
And what about as far as maybe being prepared or being scared or, just have, like you saying, having all these doubts, even when you find the property and just going through the process?
Yeah, it's just one step at a time, whatever you're thinking about at that time, just take that step, research whatever it happens to be, and then reach out to the community if you're not sure, because all these people, from you to Dion to, Zuber to, Sierra, everybody out there, has some sort of information that can help us. So reach out to anybody out there. They're willing to help you in any which way. Even I'm willing to help you. I don't know how much help I can give you, but it's like that's eventually where I want to go with this, is be able to help, like you said, and let people know that, hey, even a couple stoners and that have things that maybe people would have given up on themselves for, because my wife did back in the day give up on herself when she had epilepsy, which she still has epilepsy, but excuse me, she understands that that's not something that is going to hold her back. And so once she was able to stop having the seizures and she was able to go on, she's built a career in the cheese industry. And if she can do that, you any of us can do anything, so I try to look at life as, hey, get out there. It's offering you something new every day. Just take those baby steps, and you'll get there, and just have that confidence in yourself, because a lot of us don't. I don't have confidence in myself some days, but again, I help. Your podcast helps. That's why I comment on your podcast one morning like, hey, this just made my morning, because the information that's out there changes people's lives, and I thank you for that.
Well, thanks for watching. And I know a lot of people are gonna hope that you make it to Vegas for the one rental at a time event in February. And I think a lot of people are gonna probably hope that your wife Mary's also there. I think people are kind of looking forward to maybe meeting you folks.
Yeah, that's going to be a stretch getting her there.
Yeah.
It could be possible. Like I said, I'm looking at how many miles I have. We have a bunch of that stuff, and so it's just like I told her, it's really tough for me because I just started a new job, and even though that's that far out, not being that far out, it could work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe you get a tenant by then and they're
Yeah,
paying the rate that or the rent that you were expecting or even more. And then
yeah.
you never know, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Well, this has been fun as usual. And like I said, thank you for always checking out my stuff, commenting. I love it. I love this community that I'm hopefully somewhat a part of, but we're all helping each other and on this journey. But yeah, keep it up, man. We'll get an update from you again.
Thank you. Thank you again for hosting me, man. This has been great. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
thanks, man. Bye.
Bye.